On the headlines this morning, can Congress avoid a government shutdown? We are just over a week away from finding out. That deadline is coming up at the end of September. House Majority Leader is in discussions right now. Speaker Mike Johnson failed in his effort to pass a short-term funding bill last week, and now the Senate says it will advance a bipartisan bill. Where do things stand? Well, joining us live this morning, Republican Congressman Andy Harris of Maryland. He is now the chair of the House Appropriations Subcommittee and was just elected as the chair of the conservative Freedom Caucus. Congressman Harris, good to see you as always. Thanks for being with us.
Good morning, Tom.
Now, your predecessor, Congressman Good, in your position with the Freedom Caucus, was often at the center of these shutdown debates. So give us your perspective right now. What is the holdup here? Because we had heard that this voting ID bill was the holdup. Is there a spending component of the concern as well?
Well, I'll tell you, look, the vast majority of the Democrats voted to shut down the government. We had a vote on this past week. And again, if they want to shut down the government because we insist that illegal aliens actually can't vote in a federal election, let's have that discussion any day of the week. But it's the Democrats who said no to a government funding bill this week.
One of the things we keep hearing is that some Republicans are concerned about this because they don't want to get locked into 6 months of spending levels when we don't even know who's going to win the election right now. How big of a factor is all of that?
Well, look, Tom, when you set a deadline of funding in March, it doesn't mean you have to go to the deadline. I mean, you could have done it. We could have done it in November, December, January, February. It gives you more leeway, but it's not a date set in stone. So again, the Democrats used the SAVE Act, which again said that illegal aliens can't vote in federal elections. Again, they disagreed with that. They want illegal aliens to vote in federal elections, and the vast majority of Americans disagree, and they're willing to shut down the government over that.
But clearly there's a debate and an argument to be had over that issue because it's an important one. But what does that have to do with keeping the government open?
Well, the thing is that that was the last last major bill that was going to be passed before this election. And if we passed the SAVE Act, it would have gone far to guarantee that illegal aliens don't vote on November 5th. So this was the last train going out of the station. Again, why would anyone reasonable say, we're going to shut down the government because we want illegal aliens to vote?
It appears to be a dead letter office in the Senate, though, and obviously you need both sides of Capitol Hill to agree on this. Is there a plan B right now? The Speaker seemed to say there was a plan B, but didn't enunciate exactly what it was.
Well, I suspect that they'll release the wording of that today. Look, obviously, we're not going to be able to go into March. We'll probably have to go into December. But again, in December, if the Democrats are unreasonable in reining in federal government spending that's causing inflation, then my advice to the Speaker is let's close the government down for a few days, go into January when hopefully the Republicans take over both chambers.
We're in the middle of a presidential election, obviously, an election for the entire House. How big is the voice of the presidential candidate for your party weighing in on this discussion? Is President Trump directing this right now?
No, look, President Trump has an opinion. I suspect he would. He's the presidential candidate. But again, this is going to be left up to the House and the House Republicans to decide. And then, of course, over in the Senate, left to the Senate, to the senators to decide as well.
What's the biggest thing that you want accomplished in this time between right now and the end of the month from a spending standpoint?
Look, I think we have to set it up so that we can have a discussion if it's going to be in December about not giving in to the Senate's $100 billion addition to the budget that they're asking for, above and beyond what the legal limits of the FRA are. And I hope we can adhere to that level.
One of the things we keep hearing, and often when we get into these shutdown countdowns, is a kick the can down the road scenario where you'll push this out a couple of weeks, come back to it, and then, we wind up at the end of the year facing this once again. Virginia Senator Tim Kaine would like to go to an annual appropriation that runs on the calendar year, not this, October deadline. Would you be supportive of that, get some normalcy into this process?
I think that proposal doesn't go far enough. I think what we have to do is, with the exception of the defense budget, we should go to 2-year appropriations bills. There just isn't enough time on the clock, especially in the Senate, to pass bills on an annual basis. And look, the bottom line is the Senate hasn't taken up a single appropriations bill on the floor. That's a complete failure of Chuck Schumer in the Senate.
Congressman Andy Harris from Maryland, we thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you, Tom.